right. I'll fix it as we go live. I'm so sorry. 1 second.
I mean, to be fair, Darren doesn't.
Oh, that's a lovely shot of me.
Don't worry. There we go. Hello, welcome to the Honest Wargamer, Hour 7. Two wonderful people, Neil from the WTC and also from my heart, and Tom from earlier, really.
Yorkshire.
So we have a regular, thanks to both Neil and Tom, Neil agreeing to do this a little bit earlier today. Normally 7:30 every week, we've been covering the Greek Hammer TTS tournament, which is a WTC style, which means 8 teams of 8 people. WTC style, teams of 8 people playing 40k, but obviously trying to be safe and make sense in these COVID times. It's all been done over TTS, which is Neil, Tom, and all the Greek Hammer guys have been doing the organisation. Neil, how's that gone for you?
I've not been doing much in the organisation, to be honest. I've been busy being a daddy, but it's interesting. I think it's very much a learning curve, and we're discovering that it's much harder to run a tournament on TTS when there are no fixed round times than it would be to run a tournament in real life.
It's what's easier, running a real life tournament or this? Do you think?
100% real life tournament. 100%. I mean, running a tournament is like herding cats, but at least the cats know they're meant to start games at a certain time and finish at a certain time.
Threaten the cats with violence.
With this, the cats have 2 weeks to play a game, and you don't know when they're going to play the game.
You don't know how they're going to play the game either.
No.
For you guys who are watching, we've done this every week. I found this fascinating. I found it really rewarding mentally. I found it a really good kind of look into competitive 40k in a bunch of different ways. So we'll pretty much dive right in. Neil, do you want to give us kind of a recap of where we're up to now, where we've been the past few weeks and where we are up to in the tournament?
Yeah, so basically we're into round 3 of the tournament now. Each round's taking 2 weeks. Because the captains just want to have more time to get the games arranged and just sort of take it a bit more chill. So we've had, the tournament's starting to shake up at the top. We're starting to see the more recognised solid WTC teams going to the top. Plus, one of the teams we're going to talk about this week today, which is a sort of newcomers All-Stars team, which is really crushing it. So it's going to get quite interesting.
Are they? Are they doing well? Oh,
yeah.
I'm loving this.
So, quick bit of intro. The two teams we'll talk about this weekend is the Hottest Takes and the German Trolls. The German Trolls are essentially a team of very new players. A lot of the guys have only started playing this year, last year, 2020. So they're very much the new, the young bloods, the new guys in the German scene, with a couple of seasoned vets. Whereas the Hottest Takes, this is a all-stars team of players from lots of different WTC teams, like Belgium, America, Japan and other places. But what they are is these are all guys who've been crushing TTS tournaments over the past year. And they've met each other through TTS tournaments. And when this event came up, they decided to get together and create a super team.
Ooh, I love a good super team. That's honestly very exciting. Mainly because you get stars. I want there to be a coach. And the thing I'm always most excited about, team logos and team merch. That's what I'm really looking forward to most time. Because I get it. Because when you are Canada, you've got to go red and white, right? Like, it's classic. Yeah? Like, if you go in Scotland, it's going to be blue. Who knows what the super team, could be orange? Who knows?
When you're Bobo, you got to have a big penis. That's about it.
That's a different thing.
Yeah, true.
Right, okay, so should we introduce the match between these two? Tom, do you want to take us through? We can start looking at the pairings, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, straight into it, mate. We don't need to do any stats or any of that nonsense this week. Well, we can do that at the end of the event because we're almost there now. So Hottest Takes won the roll off, which means they have to pick first blood. And they defended first with an AdMech list. Now, this is a kind of, I've called it a blocking AdMech list because it contains a crap load of horses and doggos. So I believe it's got 26 doggos. Yes, the Cerberus hounds, yeah. And then it's also got a load of the the disintegrators as well. So you block with those, and then you shoot over the top with the ignores line of sight, shooting from the Scorpius disintegrators. So you're able to kind of put it down and then just say, "Come on, push me off the board," because it's very, very hard to try and get through all that stuff. And you also can't really hide either to pick up points. So you have to be very careful with how much stuff you stick on objectives, just to make sure you don't get absolutely reamed. You've got Belisarius in there as well, so you form like a little castle around your Scorpius disintegrators, and then you're pretty effective at shooting things off if you ignore us shooting. It's decent.
Yeah, I think the fact that the generated board control seems really good. Obviously, also the newest release for Metallica coming out of the Carcassonne, whatever it's called, the Warzone book.
Car Sheridan or whatever it is.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Seems to put some, maybe some other variants of this, but mainly...
Nah, it's rubbish. It's rubbish. I beat it today.
Did you, Neil?
Yeah, but he was playing some peasant, so it was fine.
Yeah, I was playing Rickard Nielsen, the best AdMech player in the world.
According to the ITC.
According to the ITC. And
well, I like Rickard. Rickard's
To
great.
the Falcon.
Rickard is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Falcon hasn't watched him play, so I don't know how to that. So, fair enough. So the Germans decided to attack that with, I would call it a mirror match, but it's not really a mirror match. It's the same.
The AdMech list is different.
Yeah. It's the same faction, but it's very much a different list. So it's an AdMech breach, a spam kind of list, which is the typical. You see a bunch of Cataphrone breaches and destroyers or what have you in an AdMech list, and they just walked it with board. We've been seeing it for a couple of years now. And then they also attacked it with what I've tooled an MSU Toolbox Dark Angels list. So it's a very MSU kind of Dark Angels build, but it's got like 1 unit of Eradicators, 1 unit of Inceptors, and I've made my opinion on these quite clear. In team events, I don't like all-comers lists. I really like extreme lists because you're able to control the pairings and manipulate them so that you don't get punished for the extremes.
You see, I'd say as an attacking list, yeah, you want an extreme attacking list. If you're going to make a defending list, then you have to make
absolutely spot on. Right. So you have to make it all comers, but then there are certain things you can gear it towards instead. For example, if you're first defender, you can gear it towards a certain board, and then you have to be able to beat 7 or at least contest 7 of the 8 lists that could be put down against you, right? That way you actually have a chance. Whereas if you've got a couple of bad matchups, they both get lobbed into you and you suddenly hemorrhage a bunch of points. With regards to the actual defender, though, sometimes you can't always do that, and it's a big conversation about how important terrain is at the minute. I think people are starting to get more used to it now than they would previously. But also, you can also take that and say, "Hey, I've got these 2 bad matchups, but if you throw these 2 bad matchups into me, I take you off. I take one of those out, and then I free up my second defender to now go down and not have a bad matchup." So when we actually scrimmed Scotland this week, we've done our pairings. And in the pairings, we had issues with 2 of our lists. We had Harlequins and Necrons for the 2 lists that caused us issues across our pairings. So we put down a faction, but its 2 worst matchups were Harlequins and Dark Angel and Necrons. So if you put down those 2 factions to attack it, we're guaranteed to take one out, which means we're going to have a fantastic run through the pairings later on. So there's 2 ways you can do it.
Yeah.
Can I just TLDR for some people who might not know what the hell we're talking about for a moment? Like overall, everything Tom and Neil was just talking about spot on. Basically, the 2 teams of 8, what they have to do, and as you're seeing on the image there, you have a defender. So one team, let's say me and Neil are playing, we're team captains. I fancy my chances. We're going to crush Neil's team. Let's go. I would put in a defender. So in this situation, it would be AdMech. And their job is then the opponent puts in 2 attackers. So it's a secret. And then the 2 attackers are put in after the secret has been revealed. And they've put in the AdMech. And then they've put in Dark Angels as well. I think we're seeing there. And then what happens is the defender chooses one of those 2. Now, the interesting bit about what Tom and Neil are going to talk about as we go through these is who they choose and if that's a good decision. Really what they're looking to do is, because it also depends, when you put that on defender, sometimes they're defending into a board as well. That's really important. And the different densities of board are really important. However, what you're really looking to do when you put the defender in is for them to probably not win their match until the pairings of rounds 3 and 4 get on later. So this is just one.
Yeah, because these early pairings that balance each other out. Your defender will get a shit matchup, but you're gonna have to put a defender forward as well. So the early pairings basically balance each other out. It's the latest stuff that decides the game normally. Yeah.
If you want a good representation of what's going on, but it'll take you 5 minutes, go to the T-Sports Network YouTube channel and watch the Super Series intro. and that'll give you a good idea of what the pairings looks like. The difference is this is an 8-player team tournament rather than a 4-player, so it does it a couple of times. So it's very digestible. It's very easy to understand. And then if you've got questions, just ask.
And also, arguably, like these shows we've done over the past few weeks, are some of the most intense breakdowns of pairings that have been done to date. It's a very complicated.
The most, I would say. I don't think there's been that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's a very complicated and very involved thing, but it's also a really fun way to play, because while it also adds a layer of strategy at the beginning of the tournament between the team captains and the teams that are super well prepared, like we'll talk about Team Canada at some point in the future, what we're really seeing in some situations is you able to pick more favourable matchups or harder matchups, and then being able to orchestrate that. And what we're really talking about is if you were playing at a tournament, how would... Like, if this AdMech player could choose play between an AdMech and a Dark Angels army, which one would they prefer? And it really does matter. Like, a lot of it, there's loads to break down there, which I think is fun. All right, so I hope that helps.
Break down, I have to just put a question out here. I mean, Tom, so this Dark Angels list has a Librarian and Terminator armor for 130 points. Mm-hmm. Why is Ezekiel not in this list?
Good question. I don't play
5 points less.
Yeah, there's a good one. I don't play Dark Angel, so I don't know. But Neil knows the points, so there's a good question.
There's a thing for the German troll guys who are listening. They did say they're going to tune in. I want to know why Ezekiel is not in this list.
Okay, so there's a few things we need to talk about with the German troll list, because I had to.
Let's get ready. Let's get the loop out.
So if last week was about like the third defender and the hooks and the champions, right? The week before was about first and second round of defenders, right? This week is going to be about micro and your individual lists, because I feel like there are some typos in here, or they're just trolling, which is understandable.
Do you want to explain out micros to people?
So by micro, I mean the individual components of the list and how they work. So if we are, for example, last week, I thought there was a mistake made by one of the teams, is that first defender choice or third defender choice, and that's what cost them a lot of points. The week before, I thought there was a mistake made in the first and second defender area. This week, I feel like there have been mistakes made in the lists that have been submitted by one of the teams. And that doesn't mean that I think that they're incapable of making good lists. I think that there are good lists in here. I just think that there are a couple of typos or a couple of oversights that have been made in these lists that really hamper them in the pairing section, because you're not getting the maximum amount of value from putting these lists down that you could do if they were written like turning a diamond. Like, it's like polishing a diamond, right? Like, you've got like this scuffed diamond that you get out of rock, and then you want to like file it and whatever you do to a diamond it down to make it this perfect gem, right? It feels like it's halfway there. You can see where a lot of these lists are going, but they're not properly refined.
Yeah, I feel like it comes back to what you said earlier, Tom, that these lists feel like they're trying to be a little bit, all of them trying to have a little bit of an all-comer side to them. It's almost like these lists are the lists these guys would play week in, week out in a club, or the lists they would take to a singles event, which obviously which generally would hamper you at a team event, because a team event, every player has a role, and therefore their lists have to have a role. And that was in the entire list concept has to be designed in a specific way.
You have to have an idea of what you want to do.
Yeah, and these lists feel like they're much more, this is the stuff you'd expect these guys to rock up to a GT with and play, rather than their team tournament.
Yeah, which is weird when you consider that these guys are the actual like team, and the other team is the super team of dudes that don't know each other in real life.
You would think it would be the other way around, right?
Yeah, exactly.
8 individuals.
But again, to quantify this, the German troll team. I mean, we got some information off the captain, Harrison. Like I said, like half these guys only started playing 40k last year. Yeah. The majority of them are basically fledgling to 9th ed. So, there's got to be some like, this is very much the first, for some of these guys, this is the first tournament, let alone team tournament they played in.
Yeah, and that's why this is going to be a fantastic experience for them as well. Like, imagine doing pairings when not one of your players has actually been through pairings before.
Yeah. Which I believe Hottest Takes was in the same situation, but they're learning fast.
Yeah.
And they do have a slight advantage, I'll get to in a bit.
Right, so they picked AdMech. We've talked about that, right? We feel comfortable about that. Yeah, or have we not talked about
that? They picked AdMech. It feels like they just sort of went for, we'll have the mirror match rather than anything else. And I don't 100% understand why, because you're basically just coin flipping the game there. The lists are different, but they're not different enough to make a big difference, I think.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, sweet. So the next pairing, as you can see here, so this would be now the German trolls are now the defenders in this situation. So this is the first time they put an army in of the ones that they have left. At this point, they'll have had 7 left in their deck, and they'll put a defender down. And then the Hottest Takes attacked with Tzeentch Demons and also Death Guard. Tzeentch Demons, what's in the... not Tzeentch Demons, but Demons generally. What's in the Demons list, Neil?
I've got to go find it. I thought you were going to find the Orc list first.
I could do it. Right.
Oh, wait,
So-
sorry, this is right.
Go, Tom.
So the Orc list is a German defender, and as we were talking about earlier, with the AdMech being a blocking list, it's going to fan out and really make it difficult for you to try and push in. I feel like the Orc list is trying to do the same thing. So I've called it specifically an MSU Orc list. So it's got some commandos, so you can drop those down, be annoying. You've got 2 squads of 60 boys, and then you've got the 18 mech guns. Now, first defender with 18 mech guns means you can pick an easier board for it, right? So you can pick something a bit more open. You can pick something that doesn't have trees all over it, especially if you win the roll-off to go first. And then you can kind of just push out with the mech guns and shoot that. Also, if you get someone to run at you and kind of charge, you can still push out some of the mech guns because now you have movement without actually taking a penalty, really. And then you make it really hard to push them into you and take your while we stand, while we fight off you. So you've got 15 guaranteed points pretty much. If you can get the primaries to a decent size, you're going to get some points regardless of what you have. They also have, Rob, and I know you'll like this, they have a burner bomber in this list, which I believe
headbutt,
is
baby.
It is for flaming headbutt. So for those of you who don't know, flaming headbutt is a stratagem. You can fly your plane in and also explode it all over the enemy army.
It only does 3 mortal wounds though. Like, so it doesn't like.
I'm not going to tell him it's shit, Rob. I'm going to tell him it's cool.
It is cool. It is cool.
As the winner stays on, it says in the chat, crash it immediately, turn 1. I mean, you're not wrong. No. You're not wrong. And I feel like this comes back down to what we were talking about earlier with Neil, where this list has an identity. You can see it's what it's going to try to do. And the fact that commandos don't have infiltrate is a problem, but I also feel like it doesn't quite manage it. Does that make sense?
Orcs is a super hard army, like because really like where we were versus like where we were a year ago, the survivability like versus output that exists. Yeah, like Orcs can throw big blobs of OBSEC units somewhere, but they're going to hit up against indestructible steel cans, which is just going to be like. I sent 30 boys into a Custodian SEAL captain once. They just did 1 wound. He was like, "Lol, I've got a 2-up save. I'm fine." It's never going to happen. Into 10 Terminators, never in a 1,000 years. So I think they're in a tough spot at the moment.
Yeah. Potentially, the hottest takes put down Death Guard and Demons to deal with them, the big demons.
I actually like the Demon list, by the way. I think this is...
It's a pretty standard big demon list, right?
It is, but yeah, it's got the Triple Keeper, the Exalted Keeper, the Lord of Change as well. But what I like is that there's a block of bloodletters. There's a big block of horrors,
it's got the threat,
which gives you options there. It's also got a unit of 5 fiends, which is going to be so fast and scary for people to deal with. That will just rip up a flank and tear things apart. I actually really like the fact they've gone more heavy into the horrors of the bloodletters of the fiends than most of the demons have been doing in this tournament.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a decent list. Although that said, it did kind of get like conveyor belted through the pairings as we did see.
Everyone kept passing up there. Like, nah. And then the Death Guard list is what I think is pretty much. Talking to people like Brad Chester and I playing a lot of Death Guard. I think this is pretty much the best variation of Death Guard right now. In that you've got double Death Shrouder, double use of 5 Death Shroud Chambers, the double Contemptor with the Volkite Culverins, bugloads of Poxwalkers, a Demon Prince. It's all the stuff there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things in there that I don't see all the time. The Hellbrute is one example.
Yeah, the Hellbrute is probably one thing that sticks out. I kind of think, like, why is that there?
Also, you have 4 squads of 10 Poxwalkers rather than 3 squads that are slightly bigger, which is a slight change as well, but I understand it because it means you can wrap both sides on both sections of your army. Because what you do with this army is you break it into 2. Neither side is chargeable. I mean, you just push up the board and no one could charge you, which is probably the mindset when you're taking this into Orcs, right? You just walk it up and say, well, the Orcs can't charge me. Thing is, this isn't really even a melee Orc list, though, but what you can do is you just walk up the board, you use the movement that you gain from charging things to get up the board faster, and then if you push things off. If the Orcs try to screen you, it's actually kind of good for you because you get free movement in the charge phase, which means you get up the board faster rather than if the Orcs sit off and just don't screen you at all. They'll live, but they're not actually achieving anything. So I don't know about this one for the Orcs.
No, I think the problem is that, like, I say with the terrain, with the way the Orcs are going to have to screen off, means they're going to play into the middle of the board, which is exactly where these Death Shrouds want to be. It's exactly what this Nurgle block wants to be. They want to be taking the middle of the board and controlling it, and there's nothing the Orcs have to stop that happening.
Absolutely.
I played with Death Guard the other day, and I think the Death Guard list is always about how you deploy, because you have no opportunity to redeploy. You don't have the movement. Like, you're just like And it's really obvious, right? But they play that game really well. They're like, I'm going here. And you're like, cool. Like, I'll try and stop you.
It's a good list. By the way, all those whiny children on the internet that were crying about how Death Guard couldn't do anything in competitive meta, well, get fucked.
Wow, Tom's on it today.
Right. I forgot to actually mention, we do have the scores, by the way, for all the games at this.
Oh, do we?
So, yes, so they've actually played a bunch of the games yesterday. So the first game, the Adept Mechanicus vs Mechanicus, ended in an exciting 10-10 draw. This game, however, the Death Guard versus Troll Orcs hasn't been played yet, but all the other ones are going to come up, and it's pretty scary.
Prediction time, please, Tom and Neil. I'm going to want a guess from you guys. What are you thinking?
Oh, well, that's not fair because Neil knows the score.
Oh, do you?
I'm
Neil's looking at the score.
No, not for the second game. I mean, just this one.
The whole thing.
No, not for the second. For the second game, I reckon it'll be Austin. So the Death Guard player is Austin Powers. He is one of the Team Japan players, and he's been a guy who plays a lot of TTS. I think he's a very strong player, and I'm going to say he's going to take a 14-6 from this.
I was going to say 16-4 from this.
Oh, well, there we go. We'll see who gets. If he gets 15-5, we're both happy.
So just a quick shout out again for everyone new in the chat, or maybe not listening to any 40k parents information before. The defender getting 5 points out of 20 is actually very good. Like, that's fine. Like, what their job really is to lose well as opposed to win at all. And so the Death Guard are favoured to win, should win, but the Orcs, what they need to do is grab as many points as they can instead. Okay. All right. So table 3. So this is second round now. So a round has happened between both teams, and they start the process again. Hottest takes. They put in a new defender, possibly one of the most common defenders we're seeing at the moment in Harlequins. Very strong army, super. And then they were attacked by the German trolls, by Sister Battle, also very good at the minute, and Tyranids. Am I right in thinking I'm seeing some Dimacarons?
100%. I mean, talk about the Harlequin list is, quote unquote, it's the standard list. It's the list we've seen to expect. It's Skyweavers, packed full of troops with fusions or caresses. If we want to do, it's the Skyweaver jet bikes. There's nothing new here. Things to talk about is there is a tiny little shoulder patch in this Harlequin army with 20 racks and homunculus. So he's actually taking some back end scoring there as well, which I like. The player, this guy in question, Liam, he's Liam Vessel. He's the actual captain. He's the guy that recently won the Warhammer German TTS tournament, 120 player tournament. He came first, and he is, quote unquote, Tom Adrian says he's the hottest thing in Belgium right now. He's one of their WTC players.
And Tom's in Belgium, so that's.
This is what I was saying. How this team hasn't played team events yet, but they've got people like Liam in, who's obviously tapping into Tom Adrian and the Belgians to get a lot of information, a lot of advice on their pairings. And it's very much showing in terms of how they're doing.
Although getting pairing advice from the Belgium team, probably going to make you worse.
I have as a former one-time Team Belgium coach.
I mean, the last time we played Belgium, I think we got absolutely... No, that wasn't the last time. It was the time before. We got absolutely rolled in pairings. It was something like 108 to 50... No, it was 107 to 53 predicted in the pairings. Yeah. So, I mean, maybe it's okay, but... Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, they got attacked by the Sisters and the Nids, as we mentioned. I can go for the Nids very, very quickly because they didn't get picked. It's big Nids. So the German Nids list specifically is triple Dimacaron and double Hierodule. They went giga far down on these massive Nids. Yeah. They've got so many big creatures. They just love 3D printers, mate. Like, they love making big, like, alien movie gribblies and they're just using them as whatever they fancy. So... yeah, that's what they went for. They decided to neglect that and go into the Sisters. It's a pretty traditional Sisters list. But, Neil.
Go on, so, I'll let you lead off with this.
This Sisters list is scuffed. Specifically because I'm pretty certain it's got a typo. So the typo I'm talking about is what you normally do with Sisters is you take one detachment of Bloody Rose. That you put your Repentia in, that gives them +1 attack when you charge, and it also gives you access to a +1 to wound stratagem for 1 CP as well. So you take that, and then you take a second attachment, which is Our Martyred Lady, and you put Retributors in it. And the reason why you do that is you put a Combi Plasma on the Retributor Superior, you fire the Combi Plasma, you automatically kill your Retributive Superior by using a 1 to hit with your Miracle Dice. And what happens is Armated Lady gives units that have lost models +1 to hit. So now the remainder of your Retributors are hitting on 2s. Now, here's the problem. Both of the detachments are listed as Armated Lady, which means the Repentia only get 2 attacks each instead of 3. You don't get anything for the Dominions, you don't get anything for the Battle Sisters, and if you wanted your Retributors in Armated Lady, you could have just put them in the battalion. There is space for them, I have checked, and you'd have saved yourself a CP. So basically, what they've ended up doing is, because there's a typo in their battalion detachment, they've called it Armated Lady rather than calling it Bloody Rose, they're losing a lot of value out of their Repentia, which is a massive problem when you're fighting things. Now, against Harlequins, I don't know how important that is. It's important for the bikes because there's 2 squads of 5 bikes. For bikes, you need as many attacks as you can get through them because you take the Sanctic Right, that allows your 6s to hit to explode, which means you're losing more than 1 attack. 1 in 6 chance you're getting an extra hit as well. So what ends up happening is you'll find it very, very difficult to chew through these Harlequin bikes. Everything else isn't really a problem because you should be one banging it anyway. But as it stands, that is going to really hamper your ability to deal with that bully unit that they have.
Yeah, and at the same time as well, we talk about this. Sisters and Harlequins are the 2 best trading armies in the game.
Yeah.
So if you have, scuffed your trading army by bringing the wrong tools in the army list, you're going to lose out then, especially against someone as well drilled as Liam.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and we were talking with the DMs earlier saying, well, maybe they just know something that we don't. Okay, well, there's literally no reason to do this if you intend to do it, because you could just literally stick the entirety of that 2nd Spearhead detachment right into that battalion and save yourself a CP.
Do you want to know what the score was?
I do.
I hope it was 20-0 to the Harlequins because this deserves to get punished.
Oh, Tom, you're right. It was 20-0. So this is massive because the defender's expected to lose.
Yeah.
They're not expected to win. They're supposed to take points but not win. As defender getting a 20-0, that completely crushes the pairings going forward. Makes it very hard for the other team to pull back.
You can guarantee that the Hottest Takes looked at this, noticed exactly what I noticed, and said, "Punish this, punish this. Yeah. You can't touch your bikes."
That's crazy. That's crazy. From a second defender, 20-0 is huge. Huge. That's crazy. Ooh, okay, nice. I like a good turnaround. That's fun. Then
we've also got the the defender for Germans in round 2 as well. So the Germans. So bear in mind the Germans picked the 3rd board, so it should be the other way around. Germans defended with the full MSU Drakari. Now, I actually like full MSU Drakari. I think it plays a mission very, very well, and I think it plays into things like Sisters and Harlequins very, very well as well. Because what 9th edition I'm increasingly feeling like it's about is just lobbing little bits of shit onto the objectives as often as you can and killing your opponent's stuff. You don't need more than 1 model on an objective if your opponent's completely dead, right? So it's about having that
just trading.
Yeah, just trading. So
or even just taking the points. I mean, just to verify that, I was playing game I saw him play today, Sisters versus Nids. The Sister player had nothing left on the board at the end of the game. The Nid player still had his 2 Damera cards, all his big goblins left on the board. But the Sister player completely crushed it points-wise. He just kept taking points.
Yeah, and as we saw, Naden feels the same too, because he took his weird list. We could talk about specifics about later, but it's a similar idea, right? It's about giving up as little as possible to stand on top of that objective. The problem with this is, you've just lobbed this in as a 2nd defender. We've talked about how it's good against things like Harlequins and against things like Sisters, right? Well, I mean, you've still got Necrons in the pile, and you've still got big demons in the pile. So guess what they attack with?
The demon list we've already talked about, and the Necron list is just...
Necron list is weird.
It's something I've seen quite a few teams play, and it is just basically tons and tons of Wraiths and other combat units just to basically pile through. He's got 50,
is it all objectives secured?
No, but what it is you've got 18 Scarab Swarms, 15 Wraiths. You've got the Scorpec destroyers. You've got an army which is just going to push bullets up the board, generally ignore the terrain, and get right into your opponent's face. And by the time your opponent deals with all that shit, well, and there's 10 Lich Guard there as well. The Necrons basically just set a wall of combat.
So it's even harder.
Yeah, a wall of combat crap forward. And by the time you deal with that, the Necrons have scored everything they need to score anyway.
I mean, personally, I was going to say it was weird because that detachment with the warrior brick doesn't have Oberon in it, so I'm very disappointed.
Oh,
yeah, they hamstring themselves there.
No transsexual Satans, no Winter Saison. No transsexual.
Oh, but is this the list? No, the other list. Oh, we'll talk about the other list. Holy moly, dude. That was a weird list. So they take the Necron warrior brick. I don't think it does very well into it, to be honest. The Drukhari.
Again, I feel like this Necron list has got the units that are just too fast.
Yeah.
For the Drukhari to deal with.
You don't trade with it. You don't trade.
Yeah, and also this because you've got things like the race that go up fast and ignoring terrain. You're not going to be able. You're going to struggle to get around those ruins to get line of sight to hit the race before they run out and chop you to bits.
Yeah, like the Necrons just run up, they kill something, and then they never die.
Yeah.
If they do, you have to pump everything into it, and then they just get to trade up constantly walking up, and you just can't.
But like you say, it feels like this demon list is a list that the German trolls have looked at and gone, nope. Because it's already been up once, they've already passed on it once, it's getting passed on again, and this is going to be a pattern going
now.
Forward.
It could either be that, or it could be one of those lists where they think for the bottom four, maybe we could deal with it there, or we just manhandle it there. I don't think that's what's happening here, but those are the two reasons why you keep passing.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. So do we know what the score was?
We do.
I'm going for a 17-3. 17-3 for the Necrons.
Rob?
I think 12-8. 12-8.
20-0 to the Necrons.
Wow.
Oof,
okay.
That's 20 nils.
What mission are we playing, Neil?
I can't for the life of me remember. It's is it priority orders? I believe it's priority orders.
Okay. That's Hottest Takes taking 2 20-0s from round 2.
I can double check, but I'm pretty sure it's priority orders.
So that's 40 points. So to win a round, you need 86 points.
Yeah.
So halfway there from one match.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's pretty crazy.
Pumba's got it. Sorry. Vital intelligence. Thank you, Pumba.
I'll have a look at that in a bit because I can't remember off the top of my head.
So round 3 of pairings, first defender in is Sister Battle again. Custodes and Necrons attacking. What does this Sister Battle army look like?
Can I ask you a question, mate?
Yeah.
Do you know who Kyria Draxus is?
No.
Do you remember last year when we started doing the reveal shows?
Oh,
they revealed that Inquisitor.
Yes.
Very random Inquisitor.
I have no idea what she does.
She's attack last lady.
She attacked last lady. Okay, well, Neil knows.
Last lady.
See, this is what happens. When you don't play the game, you got more time to read books.
Yeah. So she's attack last lady. You put it there because she gives you, obviously, like an Inquisitor, she's got denies and stuff like that, and she's got some, most Inquisitors have very interesting powers. But the big thing is she has the fight last. Yeah, she just says, no, you're fighting last, which is huge to have in this game. I suppose when someone thinks it's trash to be able to make someone fight last, I disagree.
Yeah.
It depends on the context of your army, to be fair. Like if you're surrounded with Guardian Defenders, then it's like, well, yeah, okay.
So she got put into the Sisters' army, is that right?
She's in the Sisters' army.
So this is your quote unquote. We keep saying this every week. Standard Sisters list. There's nothing really surprising in the Sisters list apart from.
There's a little bit of scuffedness in here that I can remember. I'm just going to double check it 1 second. Mate.
Oh, here he goes. He's off on one.
Mate, I played like 12 games of Sisters and I think I'm the hot shit, mate. You know how it is. Like, hold up. There's something weird about
this. In the competitive gaming world, that's actually quite a lot of games with one army.
Okay, so here's what was scuffed about it. So this time, they're all in the Armored Lady detachment. When you could literally just take out the Triumph of St. Catherine, 2 Battle Sister squads, and then no, you can't because it's 3 Sister Repentia squads. Okay, but you could put 2 Sister Repentia squads in a patrol, and then just get an extra attack each and +1 to hit for the cost of like 2 CP at the start of the game. So I'd probably have done that, but it's not the worst thing in the world. I just hate hamstringing for Repentia. So the
Necrons that German trolls are taking, sort of similar to the Hottest Takes Necrons.
Yeah.
There's 15 Wraiths, 9
you say that, mate.
Scarabs, but there are two transsexual Satans. Well, sorry, Nightbringer and Deceiver. It's not entirely
yes.
Catacomb Command Barge and a Ghost Ark. So it's a little bit more beefy, I'd say, in terms of like what it's going to hit you
But
with.
also, we have, and Nicholas talked about this a lot on the Thursday show. He really likes the Deceiver in terms of just being able to pick stuff up and just blonk it on the table. And then you combine that with the Relentlessly Expansionist to move 6 inches.
Yeah.
You could just, I don't know, but it's decent. I like it.
Whereas the Custodies list is very deceiving because actually, a bit of finger wagging here at German Troll saying it's Custodies list, but actually the majority of points in this army is going to Atgard, Aspen Laterum. It's actually got triple tank commander.
No, I actually kind of like this
triple
list.
Punisher Gatling cannon, triple heavy bolter tank.
That is a lot of shots.
Two Wyverns, some Tempest of Science, 2 units of Vatus Praetors with Hurricane Bolters, a shield captain is. There is so much light Daka in this army. It's for the Punishers, the heavy bolters, all that strength 5 there, the Wyverns, the Hurricane bolters. There's a lot of we're gonna rinse any hordes we meet or light armor guys off the board.
Yeah, which plays quite. I mean, even the Necrons when you've got like big warrior blobs. I mean, it's not an amazing save. You throw enough shots at it, they'll just start going down, right?
Yeah. The problem is. Against Sisters, you're throwing lots of strength 4 against Sisters. Okay, they're only like T3, but they've got 3 up saves, and there's a lot of them as well.
Yeah.
So most of those shots are going to start bouncing. It's not like shooting up Orcs or shooting up Guard for this army. And I think the Hottest Takes very much zoomed in on that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that can be seen because so the Hottest Takes said, "Yeah, we'll take the Custodies Astra army," and their Sisters took a 20-0 from it.
They should do, yeah, because it's not one of those armies where you've put a lot of points into things that like to sit in the backfield, which means you can't really push off as easily, right?
Exactly.
Which means
all you're pushing with is a Custodies bike captain and 2 units of free jet bikes, which is just not enough.
Yeah, and the units of free jet bikes just die to Rets anyway. So then you come and you put 2 units of Rets on, you kill those, and then you put 1 more unit of Rets on, you hit with 2 squads of Repentium, and you just tag up all the tanks and then they die. And you can't walk into the center of the board with this list in this mission where there's 4 objectives in the center, and it's easy to get up 20-0. To be honest.
So yeah,
so
another big win for the Hottest Takes.
Mm-hmm. Wow, this is looking. That's I don't know what the math I'm on now. 60, but they're doing very well.
They've scored 70 points so far. Hottest Takes, and the Trolls have scored 10.
You've still got the first round, right? As well.
Yeah, we're still waiting for one match in the first round as well.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's so far though. Hottest Takes next. Their next defender. The German Trolls defender next. So they've put in. Is this right? Is this the Space Marines?
Toolbox Dark Angels? Yes. So we were talking earlier about how you want to build extreme lists, unless you want to build a defender, in which case you maybe need to go a bit more all comers. This is kind of all comers, but they're putting it in as third defender, which is a little bit weird. If you want to go for a kind of defender style build, you probably want to go round 1 defender. If you're going for a third defender, you probably ended up being a list that's meant to prey on things, but the things that you hate have already gone out the pool, which means that you're now safe to go and defend against everything else, and also gives you the freedom to pick a good matchup if, let's say, there's 1 bad matchup in the pool left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, again, the demons get passed on.
Yeah, no one wants to play those demons, eh?
Yeah. Now, the Nids, Rob, how many Dimacarons are in this Nid list?
2, weirdly.
0.
Not really.
This is the first Nid list we've seen that has no Dimacarons. It's got 2 big blocks of 9 warriors, close combat warriors. It's got 2 units of 6 Hive Guard. It's got a big block of 5 Zoanthropes.
Yeah. That's a great pronunciation, by the way, Neil. I love that.
Yeah. Zoanthropes.
Those warriors make sense though with the terrain on the board. If they can get in there, that seems. I like that. I don't think that's bad.
The adaptive physiology as well, where you can make a big ignore AP -1 and 2. You make some kind of tricky to dig out, especially with things like manticores and wyverns.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. And what was in the Marine list?
So, squad of Inceptors, squad of Eradicators, squad of I don't know, it's just lots of little random shit. And then you have like 1 unit of all those kind of specialist units. So as we said, it's a little bit more of a toolbox and it's a little bit more MSU. The problem is, I think, in terms of MSU trade-off, the Nids win. The reason why is because the Nids are able to hit you when you're not, because of the Hive Guard, especially when you've got 12 of the bastards. It becomes a bit of an issue for you to realistically meet the trade in terms of short range melee, line of sight, shooting in melee, to match the amount of stuff you're losing off all those Hive Guard just shooting you whenever they want, especially on smaller boards. Hive Guard have a 36-inch range, man. So you stick them inside of a ruin and you just plink things off constantly, and you're basically just taking... You know how in AOS you just take constant damage from Kroak no matter what you do?
Pretty much.
It's basically the same thing. You just sit there and you tank it.
Importantly, because they ignore line of sight. That's important to know about the Hive Guard.
So you take those out, and then between everything else, you have to trade up on everything else that's on the board just to match, because the Hive Guard are consistent damage. You're not going to be able to do it.
They are, but the thing is, this Marine list, this Dark Angel list, I think Dark Angel list, has those 2 big bricks. It has the brick of Blade Guards, and there's the 2 big bricks of Terminators there.
Yes, it does.
And I don't think the Hive Guard are an answer for that.
True, and also in this mission as well, when you've got 4 objectives in the center, even if you just stand there for 3 turns, you're going to get decent points. I don't think you necessarily get a 20, although I could be wrong, Neil. I'm sure you have the score, but it's one of those where it's difficult for you to actually push into it with that, especially when you don't have the big monsters.
Yeah, and actually, now looking at the score, totally right. The Dark Angels took 19 points in this game. They've walked up. Those Terminators of Death Guard have camped. Death Wing have camped out on those objectives, and the Nids just don't have enough to push them off. I'm guessing.
Yeah. Wow. And just type us a wink in the chat. There we go.
So there we go. So the German Trolls are rocking back. They're getting some.
Do you think? Can I ask a question? Do you think a lot of that particular match had to do with the first turn and the ability for the Dark Angels to push onto those objectives super early? And the Nids not to zone them out, or do you think it goes that way most times?
I don't think this can zone out this though, because what they're zoning with they've got 4 units of 10 termagants. That's their only really screen unit.
You push it to charge, you get free movement. Yeah,
exactly. You're just giving the Dark Angels free movement to charge, kill those, and jump on whatever's behind them. And so what you're left with screening the Tyrannid Warriors. They are tough. They are going to survive shooting, but they ain't going to survive those 2 big Terminator bricks.
So it's just a matchup problem straight off the bat.
It was. Okay. It was very much. This played very much. But again, this could well be a thing of they put the Nids in the mix there because the armies that were left elsewhere weren't very good either. They just wanted to get rid of the Nids, but for whatever reason, the Nids just had a very bad matchup here.
Yeah. Okay, amazing.
So,
all right.
So lesson learned: take the macarons.
That's true. My lesson every time I listen about Tyranids every single week is, have you got Damacarons? No.
Imagine being able to charge from one end of a board to the other. It's so obnoxious, man. What kind of person would run an army that does that?
Not me.
Disgusting.
So then what happens left is if you imagine the 2 team coaches or players or whoever it might be who's doing the pairings, they've got a couple of cards left in their hands, and then these are, during round 3, whoever wasn't picked, they play each other. They're called the hooks. So they play each other, and then the champions are the ones that are left inside the deck, and so then they play each other last. So sometimes when you're doing the pairings that we see before, who you don't choose, like those each demons who we saw not chose loads of times, they end up getting pushed back, and you really, in your third pairing, you're really thinking about also your hook matchup at the same time. So it's a very involved choice.
Yeah, and you know what you've given your opponent as well, and you have an idea of what they're going to take. So when you refuse an army or pick an army, you have an idea of what you're going to be playing against the thing that you refused.
Exactly.
So often you switch it.
Precisely. So coming into this, the fact that the German Trolls picked the Nid list there to fight, or the fact that the hottest takes put forward the Nid list there, because they're thinking they'll bait the Nid list into the Dark Angels, because then this demon list will have a better chance against the other choice. So they're trying to bait, this whole bait and hook thing. So the demon list is the triple keeper, the Lord of Change, the fiends, the Lord of Horrors, and the Necron list is the double name Satan and all the wraiths. So what do you think of the matchup, Tom? What do you reckon?
For the demons versus the Necrons.
Yeah.
Let me have a think.
I think it's a win to the demons.
So let's have a look at the Necrons list again.
The Necron list was 3 units of wraiths, Nightbringers, and Deceiver. That's the core of the army.
How many wounds did the Necrons have? 18.
Necrons aren't in this. This is demons.
Oh no, sorry. How many wounds did the what are they called? The Keepers of Secrets have? Sorry.
Keeper of Secrets.
They look like the Macron, just big Eldar looking.
I am totally not looking on the world's greatest webpage, hosted in Russia. Hosted in Russia.
Okay.
They have 16 wounds, Tom.
I would think it should be a 14-6 to the demons.
Oh,
Because you've got too much to deal with the Nightbringer. So the Nightbringer comes out, kills one thing. Maybe it kills a second thing, but it goes down. And I don't think the Necrons have enough to deal with the remainder.
Do you know what, Tom? You're earning your money here because it was 14-6.
Good guess.
Yeah,
Good
I
job.
agree. I agree that the
that.
the Nightbringer and the Satanic have to do all the heavy lifting, but the demons have more stuff that can heavy lift. And once those two are down, you're going to have like the Bloodletters dropping down, causing havoc in the back lines. The Fiends will probably go around the flank and do the same thing. So yeah, 14-6.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thanks,
Earning your keep there, buddy.
Yeah, mate. Earning about £0 that I acquire from this program.
Your participation trophy is in the post, though. So
brilliant. Thank you. I love the participation trophy, me.
So talking about participation trophy, is this a Space Wolf list I'm seeing?
I know.
It is a Space Wolf
participation trophy.
And it's a super aggro Space Wolf list as well.
Good.
What's in the list?
So we've got 3 units of Wolfguard with jump packs, lightning claws, and storm shields. So basically,
small units, to be fair.
Yes, small units. But you kind of do the Vanguard vet thing there. They've got Sky Claws, which are assault troops, basically. You've got Blood Claws, which are assault intercessors. You've got Storms. You've got a lot of very fast-moving guys who just want to, going all in on the Space Wolves, wanting to get into combat and do attacks. Everyone's rocking it, such as chainsaws, the extra attacks, and obviously the Space Wolf chapter tactics can buffing that up. You've got 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts, which are always good right now, and then you've got your usual sort of hero hammer of Space Wolf support, the Primaris Captain, Librarians, the Chapter Masters, all these things. It's a proper aggro list.
Kind of point out that this matchup looks like something you'd see in White Dwarf. It's Space Wolves trying to fight massive fucking Gribblies.
Yeah.
I love that.
What Space Wolves really like to fight massive Gribblies.
Yes. So we are a success chapter as well, just for when it says on our chat, because I know he wants to hear about it. Even though it's not Fleet Wolfguard, you fucker. That's fine. And then the German list is the triple Demacaron double hybrid duel list that we talked about earlier. So it literally is big Gribblies versus Vikings.
Yeah.
We're playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla over here, okay? That's what we're doing.
But I think I favour this for the Space Wolves, even before I look through unit scores, because the big Gribblies there, the Space Wolves got so many units there. The Macarons, they can only hit one. They can't kill all these units at once. So they're going to come forward, they're going to hit stuff, and then they're just going to get mobbed. Yeah,
and they can't walk into the centre either. And then there's 4 objectives, so I think it's probably 20-0 to the Wolves.
Rob, what do you reckon? Big Gribblies versus big demons, big Space Wolves.
I mean, I don't rate the 18-2 to the Space Wolves as opposed to 20.
Oh, you should have gone with Tom. 20-0.
Yeah,
I just didn't want to be on this side.
He didn't want to commit. He just wanted to, he just hedged his bets. Have you ever seen the £1 million drop, Rob, where people just put 50k on just a wrong answer because they're scared?
No,
that's what you did, mate. Okay, never mind.
No,
it's a shit
I wasn't scared. I just didn't want to agree with you. That's a whole different. Okay. There's a whole different emotion.
Understandable.
Amazing. So, so we currently know that the final score at the minute is 70-10. Is that right? No.
The finals currently, the Hottest Takes are winning 106-34. One game remaining.
Wow, that is
so. Hottest Takes have smashed that first game. Wow. And I can actually, if we've got a little bit of time, I can run through most of the results have come in now, because today's the final day of the third round of the.
Better hurry up, man! This is a Discord server. I'm gonna pop my head in one sec.
So we had obviously Hottest Takes German Trolls. Hottest Takes taking that one in the Canada versus Germany scouting game. Canada flying strong, went a bit too close to the sun, and the German scouts have absolutely stopped that game, 116-44. Poland versus Hellas, which we featured last week. The Poles have taken that round, 103-57. And Ukraine versus one of the French, the FTA, the French, we'll say, quote unquote, the official French team. Ukraine stopped that 132-28.
Oh, fucking hell!
So there are some big scalps amongst some big names there as well.
That is very, very cool. I like that it's throwing up some different results. Do you think it's TTS versus real world? Do you think real world's going to be harder, be a bit more buckling? Do you think TTS is easier, longer to prepare, or?
I don't know. I mean, the thing about TTS is because these guys got 2 weeks to play a game. They can, they can practice. They can theory out all their matches so much, way more than they can do in real life. So I think maybe it's a case of that. Maybe it's just a case of the quality of people putting a lot more effort, put more time in to practicing stuff out. I don't know, but you're looking at right now. You're looking at the top. The top right now is like Germany, scouting, Ukraine, Poland, and hottest takes. That's the top 4.
How's Canada doing, by the way?
Canada is got 4 points now, so they're sitting 8th.
Did they play that round against German scouting men?
Yeah, and they got stomped.
Wow, because Canada, just for everyone, Canada was working.
Let's talk about that.
Unfortunately, yeah, here we go. So,
we can talk about that. That's important.
Jim's in the chat. Jim's going to cry, but yeah, Canada lost 44 to
116. Okay, so
I can pull the individual results as well if you want.
I think Canada are an outside shot to get out their group, but I think when they hit the actual quarterfinals at WTC, when they're hitting teams they haven't been able to prepare for, I think they'll lose. I think is how it will go. Wow. Because the way WTC works is you're seeded into groups of 4, and then the top team out of that group of 4 gets to progress to the last 8. Right? Is that right, Neil? Am I explaining that correctly?
No.
Okay. Do you want to do it? You do it. Screw it.
So the idea is for WTC we're playing 8 because we're going to play 8 rounds. You want to try to stop there being a clear winner after 5 games, 4 or 5 games. It's everyone's going to get put into pools. They're going to play the pools, and those pools are going to be seeded. So the idea is that we'll say the top teams won't face each other until they play the pool games yet. So kind of balance out the pack a little bit there. That's the idea, basically. It's kind of like the if anyone follows rugby league, it's like the Rugby League World Cup system.
Yeah.
But the top teams are seeded, or even the Rugby World Cup, the top teams are seeded not to knock each other out early, and so therefore keep the event more open. Because if a particular team knocks out 2 teams early, the event's almost wrapped up at that point. So trying to make it so the better teams are forced to only face each other in the final rounds.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
It sounds super fun. I've really enjoyed this week's. Thank you very much. Thank you to both of you as well for being part of the Stream Street birthday party. Neil, thanks very much.
No worries. Just starting to have a nosebleed here, so it's really good timing to finish off.
Perfect. All right, well, let's get out of here then.
The pairings are that powerful. This was such a bad
Canada, Jim. Jim, look what happens when Canada loses,
Yeah, so Jim's saying, I actually think pairings went well. I think it was a player skill cap plus mission. And Tiff is saying, I actually think you guys lost on the pairings level, which is similar because it means that somewhere there's a misunderstanding of how the matchup goes, which is part of player skill.
Well, maybe we should try to get Jim and Tiffus on to talk about that.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get them to fight, and then I can just sit here and drink. That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be great. Especially, I'm not going to Ukraine next week, so we can do that.
Oh. Okay,
and we don't have a.
Well, so listen, been lovely talking to you both. Thank you very much. And we'll be back again next Sunday, 7:30. If you guys want to tune in and do some more of this, I always enjoy this show. I think it's super good. I'm going to be taking a small 5 to 10 minute break now, and then we'll be back with our next guests, which will be super fun. Thank you to you both. You've been wonderful, and we'll see you guys in a minute. Bye.
Bye.
Hello, welcome to Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob. It's the start of a very exciting series of videos. It's the streak. It's the best streak in the world. Hello to everyone who's joining us live, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. I'm in the studio on my own, but that doesn't mean I'm alone. I'm going to try and do this every day, 7 days a week, until confinement is over. If you want to watch more stupid stuff, keep tuning into the show. And it's time for the Hunker in the Bunker Day 8. Oh, easy. Not even difficult. Can't wait for day 80. Dude, our date is in day 2 of 84. Just realising that I might be doing a daily show for 84 days in a row is a bit. I've just seen the long future for me, and that's fun.
You got to give the people
what they want.
So
I'm on it.
It's a grey kind of flecky option today with a Nike trainer. Yeah, that's what I'm rocking today. I have got them pulled up as far as they go.
That's what I do. Why wouldn't you ever do that?
At what point do you just pull the leather out, smack some war paint on, and start hunting for gasoline?
Well,
I reckon it's up to Up to Nathan.
The line art and then put up high quality versions of them so that people can print them off for their little ones or for themselves, just colour in and keep themselves busy.
If you join the chat, you are one of the hashtag Grok gang.
Well, I'll get to all that. I got to get through the housekeeping first. So Bud Kaler, a.k.a. Budtastic Guy's appearance on The Honest Wargamer is brought to you in part by the Budtastic Group of Companies, a subsidiary of the Rage of Sigmar media conglomerate.
Anyway.
It's all coming out now.
A whole bunch of people are like, and time to turn this one off today. This is only Stream Street Day 3. I can't wait to be like fucking Alex Jones in it, Stream Street Day 27. She's marinating a brisket.
Yeah, so she's slow cooking a brisket, and it smells so nice.
I didn't know that's what people called it for their birthdays, but if that's what you guys call it.
Now, this isn't DIY. Can you see?
You got to be a bit higher,
Oh, there he is. Oh, bless. Oh, actually, I can.
He's got a wheel! Darren, he's got a wheel!
I know, come out there. But I keep getting woken up by really painful erections.
When I was a young boy.
I'm going to do a little Rob Austin. He's going to do a little show here. Top 3 bad Batman movies.
Well, number 1 would have to be...
Well, interestingly, the question was, how do you both feel about the Gargants? And the answer is massive erections.
Because I'm doing kind of unit by unit, rather than kind of getting distracted. Oh, that was...
Oh my God, John! What's cracking? It's been an interesting week, eh?
Why? What happened?
The FAQ.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course. The FAQ.
That was cool.
I thought you meant the armed insurrection in the United States of America. My bad.
No, I'm not wearing a leather jacket that's got speckles on it.
Yeah, I mean, if they're more than 100 points, then that's too much, to be honest.
Okay. Well, there are 140 points.
That's too much, then, to be honest.
All of 2 people. It's a bit like the Legion of Asgard group, right?
Hey, we're a thriving community. If anyone wants to just clip this clip right now, 100% Age of Sigmar 3, whenever that rolls around, 100% is going to be exactly the same. It's going to be that, that board specification. You, Pete Pratt, I see you're still in bed, and that's after organising a Age of Sigmar event yesterday, a socially distanced one in Northern Ireland. I see that Archie still didn't win anything. You don't know Archie, Dayton, but you'd like him a lot. He is, he's a trier. Like Croak, who hasn't changed fucking points, which makes no sense. It makes no sense. What the fuck is that? And I love it because he's my favourite model. And if we can all do it, let's just fucking do it. You buy a Croak, I'll buy a Croak. We'll all just fucking use Croak, and it'll be the best year of our lives.
But you can't because he's sold out.
Innes Wilson, you won't be able to do it because they both look like a thumb. Greetings from the homeschooling world, Vengeance from Sylvania. I'm pretty sure my kid's reception teacher was sent by Sinesh to distract me from providing world-class homeschooling. Wow. Wow, loads to unpack there. Thank you so much. It's because we always do it live. You work to your skills, right? You can't prep, so you do live. Find a list of... Oh my God. No one tell Vince I said this. I would like to see a group of generic artifacts that people could choose from. Again, no one tell Vince I said that. Let me just check my calendar. Yes. I'm free.
Hold on. Yeah, me too.
Nick, you brought up a really interesting point before the start of the show, actually, which I thought we could talk about.
Yeah, I'm an interesting person.
It used to be a 65? Are you sure your base isn't a 65mm base?
Oh, I've found a tape measure. Yes. Oh, I knew I had one.
A builder that had to find a tape measure.
Yeah, they always have to find one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is a 65. That's the one I came on. So I've got to change the space.
You've got to change it to a 65.
Oh.
Who also made a Sex for Seniors video. Really good watch.
Nerfed.
Fuck those guys.
Uh-huh.
Fucking cutting my base down now.
Do that. I shall take the girls to the ball. But there's no balls and no girls, so... don't clip that. Oh, yeah, and Wahapedia, sorry, the one-man show, says he will have everything updated for 9th by next weekend at the latest. There you go, which is a searchable database. A searchable database of the information, which isn't a long list of shit.
Games Workshop said they'll have a quick reference guide in their app.
Let's talk. But when we're just having a chat, I end up getting a bit handsy if I don't do something. It's kind of weird. You're like, oh, is it going to be okay having someone you've never like really spoken to? But like Tristan was like upbeat, fun, enthusiastic, and Selena was like powerfully kind. Big thing for the mental health. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Reach new bounds. See how many times you can do it in one day. 15.
Yeah,
Who knew?
You do get the Flinger missile. Now, it's a lot like a Mortek crawler in some ways.
You're only allowed to bring gits, and you've got to like narrative the shit out of it and just be like wild off your brain on cider or mushrooms all weekend or both.
And we'll all just have another croak. And maybe they'll just make more croaks. You don't even know. Just fucking loads of croaks. Everywhere.
Maybe he'll not be unique anymore.
Having a catchphrase which is stay hydrated, which makes you need to pee for like the last hour and a half of the show. So
okay, wait. So we need to drag this out so that Ross can't go.
There is actually another Cities of Sigmar.
I know. I don't give a fuck. If you want to know what it is, go read the book yourself, you lazy shits. Thank you for listening to the Honest Wargamer. Have a great day.